The WBBM Noon Business Hour. Think of it as lunch money.
More and more companies are using scientific techniques known as neuromarketing to find out what consumers really want and how to sell it to them. Campbell Soup is getting help from the media research firm Interscope Research in Boston. And with us to talk about it is Interscope CEO and co-founder, Dr. Carl Marci. Dr. Marci, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure to be with you.
Tell us what you do.
Well, Interscope measures unconscious emotional responses using biometrics, which are things like hand sweat, respiration, motion, and heart rate. And we combine that with eye tracking, where we can tell within a fraction of a centimeter exactly where people are looking. And we use a neuroscience framework, our understanding of the brain, to interpret the body's response and visual attention to help our clients break through the clutter of the modern world.
How do you know if somebody's hands are sweating because they like something or they dislike something?
Well, that's a great question, and we've tweaked our algorithms toward a positive bias. So when engagement's going up and things are lined up, multiple measures are moving in the same direction, we have a lot of confidence that this is telling us that people are engaged. And we define engagement very specifically. Are people paying attention, and are they having an emotional response? And that's telling us that the brain is dedicating precious resources to the media content that they're watching.
So how does this work on an account like Campbell Soup then?
Well, Campbell's, as you know, hired us to help redesign their shelf set and their venerable red and white label. And so we did a number of studies along with some other companies where we would bring customers into stores and monitor where they were looking, and then have them watch videotape of themselves shopping, measuring their eye tracking, biometric response. And we define what are called purchase moments, when people pick up a product. And there's really two outcomes. You either put it in your basket and purchase it, or put it back on our shelf. And we could tell from the biometrics when they were going to purchase, when they're going to respond. And then we do what are called diagnostics. We're looking moment to moment, second by second, near real-time responses. And we use that with the eye tracking to tell what exactly on the label, on the shelf, is triggering a response that leads to a purchase behavior.
Does subliminal impressions play any part of this, Dr. Marci?
Well, subliminal really strictly defined means below conscious awareness. As you probably know, 99.99% of advertising and communications is at a conscious level. What we're really dealing with is a very cluttered world and a growing understanding that all communications, whether it's a radio program like yours or television, advertising, or a movie, really communicates on two basic channels, the conscious and the unconscious. And what we've learned from a neuroscience perspective is the vast majority of that processing is unconscious. And so things like the body's response and where people are looking tell us even more than what people can tell us through their own mouth.
Well, Dr. Marci, is it your understanding that people might respond more to less cluttered logos and that sort of thing than they do now? The first thing that comes to mind is the GE logo, which has been around for about a century or more. Might it be time for GE to change that logo?
Well, what we know from our research and other research is that familiar brands actually do attract attention. That said, one of the challenges that Campbell's and other companies face is how do you keep things fresh? How do you evolve the kinds of brands that are so important to all our lives in a way that doesn't lose that sort of emotional connection, but still makes it contemporary? And that was really one of the big challenges with Campbell's that I think the Wall Street Journal captured well.
So how did you change the Campbell's commercial to get into it what you found from your research to provoke what from customers?
Well, some of the insights we found that when people were in stores, they were overwhelmed by the soup aisle, and really a lot of aisles. Too many stimuli, too much information, too many product choices. So one of the key learnings was how do you use what we call visual landmarks, cues in store to help guide shoppers to do more exploratory behavior, find what they're looking for, but also look at some new items that they may not even be aware exist, because in a cluttered world, people move into hunter mode. They go in quickly, they find what they need, and they get out.
Well, that's Chris is the nurturer. I'm the hunter-gatherer. So that's, we'll have to drop it at that. Dr. Marci, thanks very much. Fascinating subject.
My pleasure.
Dr. Carl Marci, the CEO and co-founder of a company called Interscope.